Hi everyone. Here's another episode with Dr. Amber. Hi Dr. Amber.
Hey, Donnie. Welcome to our listeners.
Well, have you heard about the recent news about a dog that died in South Lake Tahoe after swimming for just a few minutes?
I did. I saw that article. That's so sad.
I know. It was kind of sad to me because Tuxedo swam in not Tahoe but in Truckee too, but within the same area, so it's kind of scary. But I know every fur parent just wants to make sure that their dog is safe swimming in the lake. I think this is like a really good topic for you, Dr. Amber, and me to talk about today because it's summer and everyone is visiting the lake or in the beach. So let's dive in and let's talk about toxic algae.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is Donnie, your chief trick lady.
And this is Dr. Amber, your official veterinarian at Vital Pet Life.
So we're here to talk about pets, pet nutrition and wellness, anything that can help our fur children live a longer, vibrant, and happier lives.
All right.
Yeah. Welcome to Vital Pet Life Podcast. So, Dr. Amber, I've been to Truckee, like not by the area where the dog died, but Truckee, like Donner Lake and all those stuff. I've always, I mean, I saw that about this, like signs of like beware of Greek algae and, make sure that, you guys take care of your dogs or whatever. But what's the effect or, I mean, algae, like, why is it why is it bad for the dogs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, blue-green algae, it's actually a bacteria. It used to be classified as an algae, but just a little technicality there. It's actually a bacteria. It's normal, it's common in the water, but it does produce toxins. So it produces hundreds of compounds and dozens that are toxic to animals and humans. It's more commonly overgrown this time of year when the water's warmer. And the warm water helps it to proliferate, and so we call those algae blooms. And so when a dog contact gets in the water, swallows the water, that's how they get the toxin. It can also just be if the dog is in the water, not necessarily drinking the water, but if it gets on the skin and the hair and then they lick it off, they can get the toxins that way too. Most commonly, it's through drinking the water while they're swimming, but
I mean,
and then they ingest the toxins.
There's no way that you're gonna say that they can't ingest when they're swimming because
Right.
I've seen
Right.
like at first I really thought I was so proud of him when I saw that he started swimming. I was like, oh no, he knows how to swim, and that was in Bonner Lake, and I'm like, oh my god, he knows how to swim. But again, it scared me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because it does affect people too, and I bet it's gonna be like for people probably feels like food poisoning perhaps, and maybe some dogs, maybe that's why the dog died right away on the article.
So there's a lot of different kinds of toxic compounds that blue-green algae produces. The most dangerous ones for them are the ones that cause liver failure and the ones that affect the nervous system. So you're going to see signs like vomiting and diarrhea. You can see weakness, collapse, muscle tremors or seizures. And the toxins can work pretty rapidly. So sometimes it's almost immediate death, depending on the toxins and the amount that they've had. So if they get a large dose of the toxin, they can die really quickly. And sometimes it can be up to a day until you see clinical signs of illness. So it kind of depends on the toxin and how much they ingest, but it can happen really quickly.
So I know that the water in lakes are fresher than, because it comes from rain, snow, melting ice, streams. I mean, what is safer? Is it like seawater then, or lake. I mean, I get it, like maybe fresh water or like lake water because it can be stagnant for like wintertime, yeah. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
it's there. So I think seawater will be cleaner, I guess, right? Or I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
so that's a good point, actually, Donnie, because there's, most of the time we think of algae blooms in freshwater, but it can actually happen in the ocean as well, in marine water. So I read an article from last year about some toxic algae blooms off the coast of California that were actually killing sea lions and dolphins.
Oh no.
And they were washing up on the beach. Some of them were dead or dying, and so that was a big problem just last summer. And so we have to be aware in any kind of water that we're in. And of course, the ones organism that caused the deaths in the sea were different than what lives in freshwater, but they're both toxic blue green
And what's
algae.
the cause of this? Like, is it pollution, or is there like a study that they really found, like how this toxicity or algae breeds in the water?
Yeah, warm water, which I already mentioned. So this time of year when just the sun's beating down and warming up that water. It's also more common where there's a lot of runoff from like fertilizers and stuff like that. It just gives the blue green algae a good boost of nutrients
Oh God.
and makes them proliferate. Yeah.
Another question is like, I really know. I mean, I love taking Tuxedo to Dog Beach. There's one that we really love in Santa Barbara, Arroyo Boro. Like, Tuxie loves it. But the problem there is like, Santa Barbara too has a lot of oil rig there too. So there's a lot of, what is that black thing? The tar coming out. And Tuxedo really likes,
Oh, yeah.
other than just being in the ocean, like he likes it eating the wave. Like he has this thing with water where he wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And he likes to eat the soil. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going so with we when we the last time we were there, he had too much fun that he ended up puking after. And I'm like,
Mm,
God. Yeah, good thing he puked it out right away. His system, like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, oh my God, it's the tar that you played with. So, again, is it really safe, or is it? I mean, it's in theory, it looks nice to bring them right to
Yeah.
nature, but for a vet, like, what do you guys usually like recommend, like especially summertime, like if you want to bring your animal to the ocean, the lake, or yeah.
Yeah. So usually you have a local department, your state or your county or your city department. I just searched the other day, toxic algae blooms in my state, and I got to the water quality department in my state. And it actually had a list of all of the waterways that they test
uh,
and the levels of the algae. And so I would encourage people to go online and look for their local water quality department and see. They probably do test all over the country because this can happen anywhere.
oh, for
And then also, so that'll give you a little bit of knowledge before you go. Say you pick a certain lake and then you find that there's toxic algae blooms at that lake. Obviously you don't want to go there.
sure.
And then also look for posted signs. So usually at those
Yeah,
lakes that have toxic algae blooms at the time, they'll have warning signs, don't enter the water.
yeah.
One thing to consider too is that fish and other water dwelling animals can be contaminated with the
Wow.
toxins. So they're ingesting that water too. And it's not destroyed by cooking.
Mm,
And so if you're fishing or you're catching,
salmon.
marine animals, don't eat it if there's a known toxic algae bloom because the toxin will still be in it even after cooking.
Oh my God. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
it's
the
crazy.
main takeaway on like pretty much like preparing if you're planning on a dog's water trip or a swimming trip. I mean, well, just buy a water, probably like a sprayer, and play it in your yard with a dog, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's so deadly. That's the thing, is that it's not something to just be complacent about.
Exactly.
If the and most of the time, I mean, it's very deadly, and there's no antidote, there's no antitoxin. So even if your dog survives to get to the vet, and they get aggressive care, they can still die really easily because it's so toxic.
Okay, so I guess there's no, I mean, again, knowing if the dog is already poisoned, like that's when they puke, like they, lethargic, and I mean, just telltale signs is different to the normal, like, demeanor of your dog, I guess. And then,
Yeah.
and you just said it, like it's so hard to treat saltwater,
Yeah.
freshwater poisoning. Yeah, there's
So
no way.
yeah, so basically, at the vet, I'm fortunate that I've never had to treat a case of this, but a lot of it, we call it supportive care. Like you run fluids, you run blood work, you give them medications to manage their symptoms, but there's no specific treatment or antidote
Yeah,
for the toxin.
it's just pretty much flushing the toxins or hoping the
Yeah.
toxins.
Yeah, just try to support them and hope they
Yeah,
survive until the
yeah.
toxin gets out of
But
their
the
system.
thing to
Yeah.
think about it, like once they, let's just say they survive, but it does pretty much affect like the organ, like let's say kidneys or liver. So it's not really worth it. Like I feel like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and they can have, if they do survive the liver failure that it causes, they can have long-term liver damage
I
and suffer the effects for the rest of their lives.
I know. So I mean, yeah, I think like in theory it's great to have fun with your animals, but again, I mean, you can still do it, as Dr. Amber said. Like the only way to prepare is pretty much like check your state or check the areas that you're going to, and again, if it does say beware or don't go in,
Yeah.
listen to.
Yeah, and if you see like scum floating on the water, if it smells like rotting plant material, then just don't risk it. Don't go in the water, you or your dog.
Yeah. Okay, so we do have a bonus question. Should I wash my dog with oatmeal aloe shampoo after swimming? For sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We think of the healing properties of seawater, especially, and it can be soothing to the skin and
Yeah.
kind of feel good, but too long or too much exposure can dry out the skin really badly
Mhm.
and cause more irritation. And so after any kind of swim, especially in salt water, you want to give them a good bath with a really moisturizing shampoo. So aloe and oatmeal shampoo is a great option.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you, Dr. Amber. I think, as I've said, like takeaways before going, always check your local beach or lake, like what's the warning signs.
Right.
Yeah, and then again, it's better to be safe than, sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, guys. And don't forget to follow our channel for more talks about pets, tips, advice, and fun stuff.
Happiness, vibrance, and longevity for our fur babies and our planet.
This is Donnie, your chief treat lady at Vital Pet Life.
And this is Dr. Amber, your official veterinarian at Vital Pet Life. Have a happy and safe summer.
Have a possum day. Until next time. Are you tired?
Not really. I realized that I was holding my breath for some reason.
Don't hold your breath.